Your passion and your proclivity is actually the sweet spot that gets you to be passionate about what it is that you want to create. Hey, everybody, thanks for being here. Glad you're here. If you're watching this in the Potential Zone group, and all of you on TikTok or Instagram, if you're not over in the Potential Zone group, you want to get over there, because I put in lots of amazing content over there and do everything I can to support people to making their business, scale it, leverage it, how to shorten their time, how to make their life more abundant in all different areas. So and if you're here on the Potential Zone group, get over to TikTok and join my groups over there, or follow me over there, because I put a lot of exclusive content just on TikTok. So my question is, what does it mean to be free? How can you create being free, and what does that look like? Right? And see, the thing that I get from a lot of people when I ask them what they'd want, the very first thing that they tell me is what they don't want. So many people have been so conditioned to setting up their, we'll call, thought patterns to avoid disappointment, right? Rather than getting clear about what it is that they truly want to create, and then putting energy into the strategies that will make that a reality. Living life from the fear of being hurt is not living. It is, well, it's very limited, because you're protecting yourself from something that is a great opportunity for you. So, my friend, what is wealth? Wealth is being able, this is a thought, this is a conversation I heard today. I didn't bring the book in here. Is being able to create big things with little amount of effort, right? Mastery is being able to do things effortlessly and not use any cognitive bandwidth, right? So wealth is being able to do what you want, when you want, how you want, and with you want, and with who you want. That, to me, is freedom, right? And once you understand how you can create that, then that is what it is that you go after. Let me ask you a question. Do you think it's easier to make $20 an hour or $200 an hour? Which one do you think is easier? Which one do you think that you have to use more effort in order for you to achieve, right? Because I know this is going to be a tough conversation for some of you. We have been conditioned to be poor on so many levels. And this is where I talk about the sham, society's hypnotic altered matrix, right? Is because they want us to believe that it is not possible for us to be able to create whatever it is that we really want to create, and to go out there and make the things happen. You look at the most successful men, the richest men in the world, they don't have college degrees, right? But we've all been taught that you need a good education so that you can get a good job, right? We've been conditioned that from day one. And the other thing that's really important about that is that we have been indoctrinated in not failing, right? The educational system, the sham, the society's hypnotic altered matrix, the educational system, the government, the media, right? Like, go look at the villains in Marvel movies. All the villains are rich. Most of them are rich, except for Batman, but Batman's a whole different story. And obviously, every single thing that I'm teaching has exceptions to the rule, right? But look at the things, the messages that we have been taught. You have to work hard, right? It's not about working hard. It's about learning how to work smart. What if I could show you how to duplicate yourself and being able to create things where you are able to create passive income and not even be able to do it, and be able to do it while you're sleeping? What would that be? See, for me, wealth is learning how to collapse time, right? But see, the thing that we don't look at is how much does it cost us not to understand what it means to be in wealth, right? Now, am I where I want to be at financially? No, not at all. But I do have strategies and principles that have worked and created lots and lots of money for my clients and for my mentors and students and things like that. There's other things that I've been focusing on. But see, I live by my own schedule. I have created wealth because I'm able to do things in a way that used to take me years to be able to create, and I'm able to do it in a very short amount of time now, right? If you are doing something that you have to keep repeating doing, then what you've done is you've got into this model. We have to trade time for money. Okay. What if you could take everything that you do? So here's a great question for you all. What is it that you do over and over and over and over and over? How can you duplicate that? Right? Because basically there's four things. There's four things when it comes to creating a business. And a lot of businesses don't understand this. A lot of businesses think that, well, if I just provide a great service, then people will just come to me. Now, there's some truth to that without a doubt. But there's four main things in every business. Like I've got tons and tons of books on business and marketing and all that. And it comes down to these four things: learning how to generate leads, right? How do you generate leads? How do you put yourself out there? And if you have areas around that that are impacting your ability to stand in your greatness and share it with the world, then that's what I get to do to support you, right? The second thing is being able to convert those leads into prospects, right? Turning them from people that are interested into getting them to buy the very things that you want to offer, right? I used to train for MLM companies and direct sales companies. I love your magic erasers. Magic erasers? I don't know what that means. Please tell me what that means, okay? I don't know what a magic eraser is. So being able to convert those leads and then being able to put people in an ascension ladder. See, one of the things that is really, really important is what the first company, the very first company to hit $1 trillion. Does anybody know what company that is? They did it in 2018. And then 2 years ago, I believe it was 2 years ago, they hit $2 trillion. So took him the amount of time that it did from, I think it was the 70s to 2018 to become the first $1 trillion company. Then it took them 3 years to double $1 trillion. Now, let me explain something to you. A lot of people don't understand how big $1 trillion is. If you were to break seconds, so 1 million seconds is 12 days, okay? A billion seconds is 32 years, okay? 1 trillion seconds is 32,000 years. Yes, it was Apple. It was Apple, right? And what is the business that Apple is in? What is the business that Apple is in? Because the reason I bring up Apple is the pinnacle of having the success model of creating the four things that I just talked about, right? Is because when we want to do something, what we do is find somebody else that has done it and model their strategy, model their principles. Right? No, Apple is not in the tech business, although they sell that, but that's not the business they are in. Right? Apple was the first boss. Absolutely. Yeah. Apple is in the business of acquiring customers. That's the business Apple is in. Okay. Now, some of you might wondering, why would Elon Musk want to buy Twitter? Right? Because of the data. See, understand, friends, your attention is the most valuable commodity out there, right? And so Apple is in the business of customer acquisition, like getting customers to them. Second thing they do very, very, very well is wowing their customers, right? Like I've got product, I think from the very first iPhone that I bought, I still have the packaging around it, right? Plus they have what they call the Ascension ladder, right? They have the iPad Touch. They have they have the iTouch, all the earbuds. They have the iPads. They have the different laptops. They have the iMacs, the Mac. Like it just goes on and on and on. So that's Ascension. Like you get into their ecosystem. They have iTunes. Now they have Apple TV. They have where they create their own movies, right? So then they're able to. Then the last one is customer retention. Create leads, convert those leads, customer ascension, customer ascension, and then customer retention. Buy Apple TV, like all the different things. How many of you signed up for Apple Music so that you can get the downloads all the time? I'm a customer of that, right? So these are the very things that you have to focus on, or you get to focus on in order for you to scale your business, right? I'm going to drop a bomb here that is going to make a lot of people uncomfortable, but I think it's something that really needs to be shared. And that is, over 90% of coaches make less than $20,000 a year. Over 90% of coaches make less than $20,000 a year. Why is that? Well, there's a number of reasons, but the biggest reason is because they got a certification on knowing how to be a life coach. But just like a lawyer, just like a dentist, just like a chiropractor, just like anybody else is, because they were taught a skill, they weren't taught the most important skill, which is giving them the ability to attract so that they can become better at what it is that they do, right? They weren't taught how to build a business. They weren't taught customer acquisition. They weren't taught any of these things. They were just taught how to be very big. And it's been my journey as well, right? Like I'm not telling you anything. Like I went to school, well, I got a Bachelor in Fine Arts, but I think there's something in that as well around coaching. Like the starving artist syndrome. Some of you have heard that. I think it's the same thing with coaching. Is the starving coaching syndrome is because A lot of people think if I provide a really good service, then people will just come and see me. Case in point, I have a phenomenal acupuncturist, right? And when COVID came, this is a biggest wake up call that we've ever had in the whole history of humanity, and being able to understand the opportunity that we have in front of us. How many of you did your income get impacted by COVID? How many of you? Okay. I had the best year I'd ever had in my life in 2020, right? And so I want you to think about, how do you take something like that and really capitalize it? Friends, there's 15-year-olds that are mega millionaires on YouTube. There's 15-year-olds on YouTube that are mega millionaires, right? Like, how many different people are using platforms in order to scale their business, right? And so this is what I want you to think about when you look at Apple. What are you doing to attract people? Like, I see massive influencers on social media that are not monetizing their exposure, right? Like, you can, that's a whole other conversation, is like, you can start a podcast and start getting sponsors to sponsor you on your podcast, and then you create an ecosystem to get people in there. Create assets with attention, right? Learn how to acquire leads, and you can call them whatever you want to call them. And I'm going to share something with you that absolutely changed my life. This was, I love quotes, but this quote was one of the quotes that absolutely changed my life. You can have everything you want by helping others get what they want. You can have everything you want by helping what you want to get, or by helping others get what they want to get. Somebody said on freedom, okay? See, here's another quote that I want to put out there. And this is by the good old band Rush. And it says, we pay the price, but we don't count the cost. We pay the price, but we don't count the cost. And the number one reason for fatal heart attacks after the age of 55 is job dissatisfaction. And here, the two things that we spend more time with in our lives, the two things that we spend more time with anything else in our life, number one is our career, right? Like, this is what we spend more time doing than anything else. And how many people out there, and this is interesting, when people say money's not that important to me, but they go into a job they absolutely hate. They're going to a job that absolutely makes them miserable, right? Think about that, right? You are exchanging a third of your day to go do something that you don't enjoy doing. Like, what quality of life is that, right? This is why number one reason for fatal heart attacks after the age of 55 is job dissatisfaction, right? Life was not meant to be lived that way, right? So figuring out what is it that you get passion. One of my guests that I had on my show, the Potential Zone Show. If you haven't started listening to my podcast, go to the Potential Zone Show.com. Larry Winget. Larry Winget was a very successful subcontractor, and one day he says, "I'm done, and I want to become a public speaker." What did he do? He went and bought a bunch of books, started reading them, started studying, and now he's a 12-time New York's best-selling author. Right? There's clues that are being dropped all the time for you to go out and step into what it is that you truly want to step into. I'm not a big fan of just following your passion, although that's a big part of it. Like, I love doing what I do, but it's also you developing an expertise, because, friends, understand there's going to be challenging times. There's going to be times when you're going to have to really be clear about what it is that you're committed to. Right? Because if you don't understand what you are really committed to, you are easily going to be distracted into areas that are not aligned with what it is that you want to create. Right? So for me, my highest value in my career, and by the way, I'm going to just put this up here because this is my baby. An ROI Accelerator Challenge. Okay. This is why I did our ROI Accelerator Challenge. I have been training entrepreneurs for a very, very long time. And I've had the excuses. I've done the things, like, I've gone through everything I teach has been from the result of my own journey and how I struggled and how I didn't feel confident in sales, how I didn't like doing video, like all the things that I went through to teach people that were in network marketing companies. But see, the failure rate success in network marketing companies it's unbelievable, because of the people that it attracts. So how many of you think about a get rich quick scheme, right? How many of you have heard that, right? And see, that right there tells us of where we're at when it comes to making money. It is possible to make an absorbent amount of money relatively quickly if you know how to do it, right? And what we do is we come up with these excuses to keep us from stepping out into um, our greatness. See, and what do you think is the number one thing that stops people from reaching out outside of their comfort zone? Anybody want to type in there and tell me what they think it is? What do you think is the biggest reason why people will not step outside of their comfort zone? In love, in business, in health, in whatever it is. What is it? What do you think it is? And see, these are things that I think everybody should have and know right in front of their awareness so that they can move through these things. Because when they show up, if we don't have the awareness that they are there, then we have major blind spots, and the blind spots are going to take us into areas that are not aligned with our greatness. Right? Somebody put not knowing what's ahead. For sure, that's one of them. Right? But what do you think is the biggest thing that stops people from stepping outside of their comfort zone? Okay, there's actually a couple things, but the biggest one is fear of being disappointed. Like why would I get into a relationship? Because if I get into a relationship, I have the possibility of getting hurt, right? And they deny themselves incredible opportunities. Why would I? Yes, somebody put doubt. Absolutely, doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. But why do we have doubt? This is what's really, really, really important to understand about this, friends. We have been conditioned. We have been conditioned to have doubt be our automatic program. Why? Because we were raised in a system that says if you do not conform within these lines and you don't meet the standards, then we are going to have you experience our greatest fear, which is being separated from our tribe. Our biggest fear is being separated from our tribe. And now, I don't know how you all experience school, but the way I experience school is they stuck our grades out on the hallway and displayed and if you got an F, there's a big red F on there, so that when you walked up, everybody laughed at you, and it was a very humiliating experience. So now we have this incredible fear of failing. We have this incredible fear of failing. And the statistics are there. And this is my mission, is to support people in moving past these. 9 out of 10 businesses fail within the first 5 years. That's a statistic, right? But there's also lots of other statistics that are very similar to this. One is 85% of lottery winners file bankruptcy within the first 5 years of winning it. Why? Because they're not in touch with their inner world. They're not in touch with their inner world. And they're stepping into an area that is asking them, demanding them to expand, and they don't know what that looks like or how to hold space for themselves. So when they start getting very, very uncomfortable, they go back to what's familiar. They go into the land of familiarity. And you just look at that word, familiarity. It's family liar. Just an interesting thought, right? So what is it that comes up for you? So here's another way. So I'm gonna share something with you that could literally change everything from this point forward. And get over and sign up for the ROI Accelerator Challenge. This is my best work that I have ever done. And I've coached thousands of people. I've created lots of 7-figure, 8-figure entrepreneurs. Like, you'll want to be a part of this, because if you don't, so here is the thing that determines whether or not you see opportunity. It is your awareness. It is your awareness. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are your awareness. Your awareness determines your bandwidth of what you can access when you are stepping out into the unfamiliar, right? Your awareness is what determines that within yourself, right? And so in the ROI Accelerator Challenge, I teach you how to remember your superhuman ability. There was a time in your life when you didn't understand what doubt was. There was a time in your life when you got excited about creating stuff. But see, we've been conditioned to believe certain things that do not allow us to step into our greatness. The O is for optimizing, literally being able to keep yourself in a resourceful state. See, friends, it's not that we are unresourceful. It's that we get into unresourceful states that makes us believe that we're not. And that's where Amanda had talked about doubts. Doubts don't want to let go. Doubts don't want to let go, right? Doubts will tell us, you can't make money that fast. Why do you deserve to make more money than everybody thinks? What is everybody else going to think of me? Why are you getting on camera? Who do you think you are? You're not supposed to be rich. What about me? All these things are the vibration of doubt, right? Well, I got hurt in the past. Well, I had this happen. They told me that you can't do this. Well, nobody else has done it. Why do you think you can do it? Well, everybody else is doing it. Like, all these things come up, and that's what keeps us playing at the level that we've been playing at, right? So I teach you how to optimize it. I teach you how to expel beyond that. Then the I is for influence. You being able to influence yourself in any state that you're in so that you can be the person that is able to direct somebody into what it is that you have for them so that they can invest into themselves and have the results that you provide for them, right? Your greatest asset, here's your greatest asset, is using your story to put it out there so that people can relate with you and that you're able to provide an asset. Like, friends, I've been around this internet marketing thing for a very, very, very long time. The guy that basically was the godfather of internet marketing, his name was Corey Rudel, right? Corey Rudel wrote a book called, I don't remember what the book, it was an ebook. I don't remember what the name of it was, but it was basically teaching people how not to be taken advantage of by mechanics, right? Made lots and lots and lots of money off of it. Then what he did is he packaged how he sold that and became the godfather, literally one of the first guys on internet marketing, right? Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. So there are all kinds of people out there that want the information that you have. Let me ask you some questions just to prove it. Okay, for your parents, for the parents that are out there, what are 10 tips that you would give somebody that is most important about raising a child? Every single one of you could come up with them. Now, where are most of those strategies going to come from? From what you learned and not what to do. See, it's what is not to do, what not to do is more valuable than what to do, right? Learning through experience is the most expensive way to learn anything. Learning through experience is the most expensive way to learn anything. Okay. So anytime you can shorten somebody's learning curve, it has value. Right? Like, I've gone bankrupt. I've been divorced a couple times. Like, I've been through it. Like, and understanding what is it that determines every decision that we make? What is it that determines every single decision we make? And it's non-negotiable. What determines the decisions you make are what you truly value at a subconscious level. And if you value being comfortable, if you value not getting hurt, if you value not getting exposed or whatever, then you're not going to be able to step out into your greatness. If you value not being separated from your tribe, like all of these things that are at an unconscious level, and these are the very things that are going to impact you when it comes time for you to step out into the unknown and create what it is that you really want to create. Okay. What is safe? Wow, that's a great question. Safe is automatic. Safe is automatic. And for some people, what they think is safe is nothing more than what is familiar, right? Like, why do people stay in toxic relationships? Because it's familiar. Because it's familiar. Why do we keep doing behaviors that we know are not aligned with what it is that we really want to create? Because it's automatic, right? By the age of 35, 90% of our life's automatic. Why is it automatic? Because all the neurological patterns inside of us have already been created, right? This is the opportunity for you to learn how to change that inner world so that you create new automatic patterns for yourself. This is mastery. This is mastery. So whatever spoke to you while you're listening to this is what it is. There's a voice in you that there's a voice in you that wants to come forward, right? So you paying attention to that inner voice, right? So how many of us, well, what if? How are you using what if? What if I get hurt? What if this person ghosts me? What if this business fails, right? What if it works out? What if you learn something about yourself you would have never learned had you not taken the chance and stuck yourself out there? What if, see, friends, there's the work you do on something, and then there's the work it does on you, right? Like when I started my podcast, I set it up to win from the very beginning because I set it up. Like the thing that I wanted to learn is I wanted to have epic conversations with other people, right? Because my tribe was changing, right? So I wanted to create a tribe that was more in line with what it is that I wanted to create. So that's one reason I started it. The other one was I wanted to learn how to have a podcast, and I wanted to learn how to interview people, and I wanted to learn how to communicate more effectively, right? And I wanted, this is the big one, I wanted to have something to offer somebody else so that I could get to know who they were. And I'm not kidding you, one guest that I had on my show, one guest, And this was, yeah, it was in the beginning of when I started my podcast. One conversation has literally turned into 8 figures. One conversation, one person on my podcast has literally turned into multiple 8 figures, right? So think about, what can I offer somebody in exchange for their knowledge, right? Again, this is all stuff I'm teaching over the ROI Accelerator Challenge, right? Go to the ROIAcceleratorChallenge.com. Hey, Joshua, good to see you, buddy. Appreciate you being here. So it's understanding the principles, right? Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich. A lot of people, they know it if they've read Think and Grow Rich, but Think and Grow Rich is the book that is probably the most renowned book for creating more success than any other book in history. And you know what? Napoleon Hill was broke when he wrote that book. Then how did he write that book? He went around and he interviewed successful people. Oprah. What has Oprah built her billions on? By interviewing other people. Right? There's lots of ways that you can tap into other people's experiences. I got a friend of mine that's a realtor and a very successful realtor, but again, it's about having to sell and make those transactions, right? So you can become a broker, right? Like having realtors working for you, or you can create a course on how to expand and generate the leads, make conversions, do the customer ascension, and then do customer retention, right? Like how do you get people sending you more and more referrals to you? I had a friend of mine in this book publishing. So I publish books. I do all this for my other customers as well. But getting him, his daughter wrote a book of Wait and Grow Rich, meaning go wait tables and grow rich. So the whole book was how to show up in a way so that you get bigger tips, right? Friends, there's so much opportunity out there. We are living in an age where making money has never, ever been easier. And it's not about money. It's like somebody said on here, it's about freedom. It's about creating freedom so that you get to be the one that's in control of your time frame. You get to be the one that's in control of how you live your life. Some people, that's not a good thing because they don't know how to work by themselves. They think they do until they start doing it, right? But it's understanding you have the opportunity. And I'll leave with this. Your 2 biggest expenses. This is your 2 biggest expenses. What do you think your 2 biggest expenses are? We'll start with the second biggest expense. What do you think your second biggest expense is? What do you think your second biggest expense is? Most people say my mortgage. Nope. Your insurance. Nope. Your car. Nope. It's taxes. It's taxes. We pay, energy is a good one for sure, right? We pay out about 53 to 56% in taxes, right? You have income tax, you have sales tax, you have property tax, you have capital gains tax. I can't remember the other one where you pass it on, right? Children, somebody put children. Yeah, that's for sure energy, right? So that's your second biggest expense, right? And being an entrepreneur gives you the opportunity to pay everything first, and then what's left over, you're taxed on that. Okay. The biggest expense, this is the biggest expense, is not knowing. It's what you don't know is your biggest expense. It's your biggest expense. So I'd stay tuned because I'm going to do a TikTok video on this later explaining this, right? Experience is the most expensive way to learn anything. And so you find people that know how to leverage things. Like I had a client that came to me, he was struggling to make $10,000 a month. And now he's probably doing well over $200,000 a month, right? He took his idea, we worked with him, and everything, friends, everything comes down to mindset. Because if you're not able to expand, your skill set is going to be very, very limited by that, right? So put yourself in proximity of where you have some opportunities to really, really accelerate what it is that you want to create in your, it's all expensive, maybe insurance and property tax. Well, and expensive, I said expense. I didn't say expensive. I said expense. Expensive is a mindset, right? And see, here's another question I'd ask you. Instead of saying, I can't afford this, which is a very, very, very expensive, excuses are just very, very expensive beliefs, right? So instead of saying, I can't afford this, start saying, how can I create it so that I can, right? Because your subconscious mind is going to serve you. It's not going to, it does. It serves you all the time, right? And it gives you answers based on the questions that you ask it, right? So start asking questions that start igniting new possibilities and getting you to think of what, because I promise you, friends, I got a PhD and I can't afford it. I promise you, I grew up on welfare. I grew up on going and asking the church. I grew up on stealing things for gas so that we could get to work. Like my mom would make me go steal gas so that she could get to work the next day. Like that's where I grew up. That's where I came from. Raised in an 800 square foot house, right? So I had to change a lot of the beliefs that I have in order for me to get where I'm at. But see, the thing is, and this is the interesting thing about beliefs, people will literally kill for their beliefs and they don't even know why they believe what they believe, because somebody told them to, because somebody told them to believe it, right? Like there's some people out there that believe it is moral to run an airplane into an aircraft carrier, right? Just food for thought, right? It's not what to believe, my friend, it's how to believe, right? So are your beliefs aligned and congruent with what it is that you really want to create? So I just encourage all of you to start thinking about what if I could create something that would change this world? Be a maverick, be a renegade. Step outside of what you currently believe. And it is a invigorating place to be. Like I love life today. Like that doesn't mean I'm happy and joyful all the time, right? I still get to understand what it means to have pain. I still get to understand what it means to be sad. But you know what? I still get the opportunity to do everything I can to support others. You can have everything you want by helping others get what they want. So this is what drives me every single day, is to be able to share my experiences. I can afford it, but the insurances and taxes are a bitch. Well, then I would figure out how to eliminate that, right? Like start studying the wealthy. The wealthy play a whole different game. And if you are complaining about taxes, then I could show you how to take $250 and turn that into a minimum of a $5,000 tax write-off, right? The answers are all there. It's just a matter of us choosing to give up the stories that we have and step into something that is unfamiliar and trusting somebody that there are people that might actually know. You are wealthy. Awesome. I love it. You love it. That's good. Yeah. So the answers are out there. It's just changing the question so that you get a different response. Okay. So I appreciate everybody being here as always. And if you haven't signed up for the ROI Accelerator Challenge, please do so. You'll be glad you did. This is by far my best work. And see, I can't really support you in like a 30-minute conversation. Get in the immersion, get in there, start seeing the strategies and things like that to give you the results so that you're able to remember your superhuman ability. You are the one that is running the program, and it is your inner program. It is your inner program that is impacting your ability to step out and create your life. You're complaining about it. Wow. That's interesting, right? And get into the most awesome version of who you are. So everybody, I appreciate you being here. If you're on here on the Potential Zone group, get over to TikTok. Follow me on TikTok. If you're on TikTok, get over to the Potential Zone group. You'll be glad you did. I put lots of resources in there. Everybody have an amazing evening. And I'll talk to you probably on Thursday or sooner on TikTok. Talk soon. Be blessed.